You begin your walk beneath the low, leaden sky, the kind that presses down on the shoulders, heavy with promise and threat. The woods of Lebanon Hills are quiet tonight, suffocated in a damp chill that creeps along the spine. The path is familiar, worn by boots and secrets, but each step feels somehow wrong, as if the forest is holding its breath, waiting. You walk alone, the world behind you fading with each stride into the hush of leaf and loam. The trees cluster close, their branches black and skeletal against the dimming light. Your footsteps crunch on scattered gravel, echoing in the hush. You think you hear something, a distant creak, a half-swallowed sigh, but dismiss it as the wind. It's always the wind, isn't it? The silence thickens as you move deeper, swallowing the faint sound of traffic, of distant lives. You stop, listening to the hush, the kind of silence that settles in the lungs and refuses to let go. The woods are always haunted by memories, the stories of lost hikers, the whispers of things seen on the edge of vision, the chill that arrives when dusk falls. Tonight, that chill feels sentient, curling around your throat, urging you to turn back. But you press on, stubborn, hungry for solitude, or perhaps for something else. Your phone is ready, its cheap microphone poised to catch birdsong, the rustle of deer. You have never caught anything unusual out here before, but tonight is different. You feel it. There is a pressure in the air, a tremor in the roots beneath your feet. Something stirs, unseen. The first scream comes as a question, a high, ragged howl that tears through the trees, freezing your blood. It is not an animal. You know the sounds of coyotes, the mournful call of owls, the chatter of raccoons. This is something else. It is longer, louder, and laced with a pain that is not human. It's as if the woods themselves are crying out, or something deep beneath them. You freeze, heart pounding, the scream echoes, the sound rises and falls, warping, as if the air itself is twisting around it. It comes again, closer this time, shivering the branches, making the leaves flutter as if in terror. You record, hands shaking, terrified and compelled. The scream is not a voice, it is a wound in the night, raw and unhealed. You run. Each step is heavy, the woods folding in around you. The scream follows, always just beyond sight, always on the edge of reason. You reach your car, slam the door, and drive, the scream gnawing at your memory. Later, you will listen to the recording again, the sound curdled and alien, echoing through tinny speakers. The analysis will begin. Spectral graphs, frequency curves, comparisons to known animal calls. But the experts find nothing. No match in any database, no resonance with any mammal, bird, or human. The sound is wrong. Too wild, too warped, too deep in pitch, and too high in frequency. It is both guttural and ethereal, layered with harmonics that do not occur in nature, at least not in any creature we know. It is as if something is speaking in a language we are not meant to understand. You try to forget, but the scream invades your dreams. You see the woods in your mind always dusk, always heavy with silence. The scream comes again, but this time it is inside you, curling around your heart, whispering secrets you cannot bear. Others have heard it too. Reports surface: Lebanon Hills, Sequoia National Park, the Okanagan. The same scream, the same confusion. Researchers in northeast Georgia record an incoherent yelling, a guttural wail, a sequence of sounds that bends the rules of biology. Spectral analysis reveals the same truth. These are not animal calls. They are not the echoes of lost humans calling for help. They are something else. You read the accounts, late at night, when the world is quiet and the woods seem closer. A hiker in Minnesota describes a howling scream that chills the marrow. A researcher in Georgia shares an audio clip, the sound rising and falling in a pattern that feels deliberate, almost intelligent. The spectral graphs are uncanny, mapping frequencies that do not belong in this world. Experts are baffled. Some whisper about cryptids, about Bigfoot, about things that dwell in the shadows. Others speak of environmental anomalies, of wind and water conspiring to shape sound into terror. But you know the truth. The scream was not a trick of the wind. It was not a coyote, nor a distant cry for help. It was a presence. You felt it in your bones, in the way the woods hushed and the birds fled. You felt it in the way the scream lingered, in your ears, in your dreams, in the space between heartbeats. A distant, metallic clatter echoes from the dark beyond the trees. You begin to wonder what else might be out there, waiting. The woods have always been a place of secrets, a refuge for the lost, a home for the unseen. There are places where the roots run deep, where the earth remembers old pain. Sometimes, something slips through, a sound, a shape, a scream. You walk the woods again, unable to stay away. Each time the silence is heavier, the shadows longer. You listen, breath held, waiting for the scream. Sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't. But you always feel watched, as if the forest is keeping score, deciding whether you belong. The experts continue their search. Databases grow, recordings accumulate, spectral analysis grows more sophisticated. But the answer remains elusive. The scream that wasn't human is catalogued, dissected, debated, but it is never explained. The frequencies remain unclaimed, the harmonics untethered to any living thing. The woods keep their secrets, and the scream waits, patient and cruel. A child's laughter echoes from an empty hallway, fading into static. You meet others who have heard it. They speak in whispers, afraid to say too much. Some have tried to follow the sound, to trace it to its source. They always end up lost, turned around, the woods rearranged behind them. Some say the scream is a warning, a boundary. Others say it is a lure, a trap. You wonder which it is for you. Late at night, you play the recording again. The sound makes the air in your room feel colder, the darkness thicker. You analyze the waveform, searching for meaning in the chaos. Shadows flicker in the corners, shapes shifting in the gloom. You turn off the lights, close your eyes, and listen. You hear it, not just the scream, but the silence that follows, deep and absolute. It is the kind of silence that erases, that swallows up the familiar and leaves only dread. You open your eyes, and for a moment, you are unsure where you are. The woods are everywhere now, inside, outside, behind the walls. A radio suddenly hisses with a voice that isn't human. You try to remember what it was like before, when the woods were just woods and not a threshold. But the scream has changed everything. It is a crack in reality, a glimpse of something vast and merciless. You wonder if others have felt it, if the world is full of these cracks, these half-heard voices. You hear stories of other places, the Okanagan, Sequoia, the Georgia woods. The same scream, the same aftermath. Hikers describe a pressure in the air, a sense of being watched. The sound is always different, but always the same. Not animal, not human, not safe. Some report seeing shadows, fleeting shapes that vanish when chased. Others find nothing but the echo, lingering long after the sound has faded. You read the spectral analyses, lines and colors that mean little to the untrained eye. The experts are careful, deliberate, wary. The frequencies are wrong, the harmonics impossible. Some suggest an undiscovered species, something that hides in the folds of the land, unseen but not unheard. Others whisper about the supernatural, about places where the veil between worlds is thin. But you know, the scream is not a creature. It is not a ghost. It is a feeling, a presence, a thing that waits in the woods and calls out when the night is deepest. It is the silence that comes after, the hush that presses against the bones. It is the knowledge that something is watching, always watching, waiting to be heard. A door creaks open, but there is no wind. You stop going to the woods, but they come to you, in dreams, in the edges of vision, in the spaces where silence gathers. You hear the scream in the hum of appliances, in the static of the radio, in the hush between words. You realize that it is everywhere now, a stain on reality, a reminder of what is missing. You wonder if the scream is a warning or an invitation. You wonder what it wants. You wonder how many have heard it, how many have been changed. The woods are full of stories, but this one is yours. You carry it with you, heavy and unyielding, a secret that cannot be shared. A low, guttural moan ripples through the speakers, then fades. You remember the walk, the silence, the moment when everything changed. You remember the scream, how it felt, like a hand closing around your heart, like a voice whispering your name from the dark. You remember running, breath ragged, the woods closing in. You remember the silence that followed, absolute and final. You realize that you are part of the woods now, part of the story, part of the scream. You wonder if you will ever be free, if the silence will ever lift. You wonder what waits in the dark, what else might slip through the cracks. You wonder who will hear the scream next. You listen, breath held, heart pounding. The woods are quiet, but you know the scream is out there, waiting. It is a question that will never be answered, a wound that will never heal. It is the silence that comes after, the hush that will not let go, a whisper, barely audible, threading through the static. Come closer. You close your eyes, remembering the woods, the scream, the silence. You know that you will never walk alone again. The scream is inside you now, a secret that will never fade. And somewhere, out in the dark, the woods listen. They remember. They wait. A final distant scream rises, then is swallowed by silence. You open your eyes and the world is changed. The woods have claimed you, and the scream lingers, echoing in the spaces where silence gathers. You are not alone. The woods are full of listeners, the woods are full of screams, and the silence is never empty.